All right, guys, it's time for the Module 5 test. So let's jump in and look at your review. Um, we broke it down into basically the most complex problems you'll see from each of the lessons. So make sure you know what you're doing here, okay? If you need additional help on some problems, make sure you go to the live lessons. Make sure you're calling your teachers for help. Let's look at the Module 5, Lesson 1. It says, simplify the following expression for when x equals 5. And we have 3x squared. So go ahead and try this on your own. Press pause, or it'll pause, and hit continue when you're ready to check your work. Okay, so we have x equals 5. So that means anywhere there's an x in this expression, we're going to replace it with a 5. Now, what I do whenever I do these is I always put a set of parentheses anytime I hit a variable that I'm plugging in for, and I rewrite the rest of the problem. Why do I do that? Well, now I know wherever there's parentheses, that's where this x equals 5 is going to go, and this 5 is going to go in here. And now we just have order of operations. We have 3 times 5 squared. Order of operations tells me I got to take care of the exponent first, so we would have 5 squared is 25, and I still have times 3, so this would end up equaling 75. Okay, for your review, we combined lessons 2 and 3 because they work very well hand in hand together, and we might as well review them together then. So try this first one. I want you to simplify the expression. We have 4t squared y to the third divided by 2t y squared. Go ahead and try that one. Click continue when you're ready to check your work. Okay, so we start going through and say, I can do 4 divided by 2. That I know. That's 2. And then we start matching up variables. I have a t squared and a t on the bottom of the fraction. And this tells me that anytime I divide, I can subtract the exponents. And I have a 2 on the top. And even though it doesn't have an exponent here, t is the same thing as t to the first power, just like 2 would equal 2 to the first power, right? So I know that bottom variable is a 1, and then I look and see I have a y to the third, I have a y squared, so that means I'd have y to the 3 minus 2, so this would wind up being 2 t to the first, and I'm not going to write the 1 because we never write an exponent of 1. And then 3 minus 2 is just 1. So this again is just y. So this ends up simplifying down to be 2ty. All right, try the next one. 12x to the 7th, w to the 12th, divided by 4w to the 5th, x to the 4th. Let's continue when you're ready to check your work. So just like in the previous one, I see I have a 12 and a 4. I can do 12 divided by 4, and that's 3. Next, I see I have an x to the 7th on the top, and I have an x to the 4th on the bottom. Now, notice they're not in the same order, but that doesn't matter, okay? So we would get x, remember, top minus bottom for the exponents, and I have a w to the 5th on the bottom, w to the 12th on the top, so I would do w 12 minus 5 as its exponent. There's no more work to be done on the 3. X 7 minus 4 is 3, so this would be x to the third. And then we would have w, and then 12 minus 5 is 7. So this winds up being 3 x to the third, w to the 7. All right, moving on to lesson 4. Simplify the following expression using only positive exponents in your answer. So we're going to simplify this down, and if we wind up with a negative exponent, we got to know what to do with that. So try this one on your own. All right, go back to lesson 4 if you need a quick review. Click continue whenever you're ready to check your work. So I see I 15 over 30 to start the problem, and I should be thinking, okay, that's a half. That simplifies down to be a half because I can divide 15 out of both the top and bottom. And now let's start combining our variables. I see I have k to the 7 on the top, and I have k to the 5 on the bottom, so that means I can just subtract their exponents. So minus 5. I see I have y to the 3rd on the top and y to the 6th on the bottom, so this would be y 3 minus 6. Remember, it's always top minus bottom. So right now, I see I'm going to have a fraction because of the 2. K to the 7 minus 5 is k squared. And this guy would end up being y to the negative 3. And you should be thinking, okay, the problem told me no negative exponents. What do I do with y to the negative 3 to get rid of the negative? It goes to the bottom of the fraction. So it goes, we turn it positive, put it on the bottom of the fraction. And here's our final answer. K squared divided by 2 y to the 3rd. All right, try the next one. Same thing, but this time it doesn't want any fractions. So this one, negative exponents are allowed. 4w to the 3rd, x to the 5th, y. W to the 9th, x to the 4th, y to the 2nd. Go ahead and try it on your own. Click continue when you're ready to check your work. Okay, there's nothing to do with the 4 here. So I can just jump in and start looking at the individual variables. And I see I have w, 3 on the top, 9 on the bottom, so 3 minus 9. I have x to the 4th on the top, or x to the 5th on the top, x to the 4th on the bottom, so this would be x 5 minus 4. And I have a y and y squared. So the y on the top, it does carry an exponent of 1, remember from the previous problem. So we would subtract those. Now I see I have 4. W to the 3 minus 6, 3 minus 9. 3 minus 9 is negative 6. X to the 5 minus 4 would be 1. So remember, we don't write the exponent of 1. And then y to the 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Now we do write negative 1. And there we go. We have no fractions, so we're complete. We get 4w to the negative 6, x, y to the negative 1. All right, lesson 5, jumping in and looking at scientific notation. Go ahead and try it on your own. They want you to convert that big number there to scientific notation. Click continue when you're ready to check your work. So we should be thinking that scientific notation always looks like this. We have one digit point, and then whatever's left over, times 10 to some power. So if we look at this, I'm going to stop when the zeros hit. I see I have 946, so 9, and then 46 is the decimal, so 9.46. And then I have to see how many places my decimal point moved. And the nice part about commas is we can say, okay, there's 3, there's 6, there's 9, and then this is where the decimal wound up, so there's 12. So this would end up being 10 to the 12th. Remember, when you get to the test, if the decimal point moves to the left, our exponent on the 10 becomes negative. All right? So the last one, lesson 6. Go ahead and try it on your own. Powers of powers. Remember what to do there. Remember, you can always go back and check the lessons for a review before you start the problem. So go ahead and try it on your own. Click continue when you're ready to check your work. Okay, so order of operations tells me I got to take care of any parentheses first, any exponent second. I don't have anything inside the parentheses I can do, but I do have the power there. So we would do 3 squared, and then t squared squared would be, remember you do 2 times 2. And continuing on, we would do the same thing on the next one. We continue to simplify down. We get 9t to the 4th times 8t to the 9th. We can add the exponents on the t.